Well, everyone, we're so glad you decided to join us.
Yes, welcome everyone.
Welcome.
Our intention for today is to facilitate a recharge of your career. We're going to explore some new perspectives that will help you make some sense out of current work search trends. We want to give you 3 keys to opening workforce doors. You must know who you are and what you want. You must communicate that you are active and valuable, and you must communicate that you can embrace change. In this presentation, we will explore these 3 golden keys in a bit more detail.
Hi, it's Dawn speaking, and it's my pleasure to introduce my colleague, Marilyn Henigman. Marilyn's an employment counselor here in our community, and she assists individuals in their work search processes. Her business is called searchwise.ca. Marilyn also teaches courses on job search for persons aged 45 plus and career explorations workshops at Camosun College and in our community.
And this is Lowell Ann, and it's my pleasure to introduce my colleague, Dawn Schell. Her business is called Schell Enterprises, and she helps people with career transitions right from that first job right through to retirement and beyond. And she's been an online counselor since 2006 through the Worldwide Therapy. And she also facilitates employment workshops within this community.
Hello everybody, it's Marilyn speaking, and it's my pleasure to introduce my colleague Lowell Ann Fuglsang. Lowell Ann's business is called Workstyle Lifestyle Consulting. Lowell Ann coaches people who want to make their careers more fulfilling. She also coaches executives and solopreneurs who want to improve their performance. As well, she assists individuals in their job search processes as an employment counselor. All 3 of us have extensive career and job search backgrounds and education. If you're wondering how you're ever going to apply all the concepts that we're going to be presenting, we have a few suggestions. You can work with one of us individually, or if you find group work motivating, we have put together 3 Golden Keys webinars for you to choose from. The 3 webinars include The Quest, and The Quest is about finding and responding to opportunities that are right for you. The Connection is about new approaches for standing out from the crowd, cover letters, resumes, and more. And The Engagement is about interviews that will knock their socks off. Today, for the sake of this recording device, you're only seeing a PowerPoint presentation, but in our webinar workshops, you will have the opportunity to meet us face-to-face and to interact visually with us and with other workshop participants. At the end of this session, you'll be given a link to our schedules and registration information.
So let's begin by exploring where you may be right now in your work search. Some common challenges that boomers experience include not knowing where to begin and feeling apprehensive about the whole work search process, not being sure what you really want in the way of work, not getting responses from companies, not getting results from interviews, experiencing ageism or stereotyping at times called. You may have some limitations such as health, disability, language, etc. You may be new to the community. Your skills may be outdated, particularly in the area of technology. And you may be lacking some credentials, and you may be appearing as overqualified. Do you face any of these challenges yourself? And are there any other challenges that we haven't mentioned? Well, we plan on addressing these challenges in our upcoming series. Yes, we know we perceive some obstacles, but it's very important to remember that boomers also have a lot of strengths to offer the employer. Enthusiasm and motivation, lots of skills and experience. Time, now that the family's grown up, of course. a network of people, a strong work ethic, and flexibility. Have you given any thought to what your personal strengths might be?
Sometimes it's difficult to be positive, especially when finding work takes longer than anticipated and when employers seem unresponsive. But we've noticed in working with our clients that a positive outlook generates positive outcomes. And we need to find ways to boost confidence and self-esteem during this process and build this into our work search strategies. So let's look now at some of the elements that will help to maintain a positive outlook and create a positive outcome in your work search.
Why is the need for clarity important? Well, it's much easier to stay motivated and to plan when you know exactly where you're going. It's also much easier for others to help you. So it's important to be clear about what you have to offer, skills, qualities, knowledge, that is. And you want to consider all aspects of your life. Look for what is transferable to new lines of work that you might be seeking. And it's important for you to know what your definition of career success is. What gives you satisfaction in your work, in your life in general? Some examples might be service to community, working well with a team, achieving results. And you must be clear and be able to say specifically and succinctly what you want. An example here might be, I'm looking for office work that has some flexibility, part-time, afternoons, at around $20 an hour.
Now we want to look at our thinking processes around job search, particularly your beliefs. What about your beliefs about aging? As boomers, we buy into those myths that our society holds about boomer workers. For example, boomers can't learn new tricks, like you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And they can't learn new technologies. Or that getting older means losing physical strength, good health and vitality, and memory capacity. Boomers are inflexible or can't get along with younger coworkers. What other negative myths come to mind? And what do you often hear yourself say? All of the research, in fact, points to the opposite. We are functioning at a younger age than previous generations, and we make great employees. And what about our contribution to the workplace? Rather than focusing on what's in it for me, I think it's more useful to focus your work search on how and what can I contribute to the employer's needs? Or is there a good fit between what I can offer and what the company needs? And finally, what is our orientation? Are we looking towards the future rather than looking in the past and reminiscing? Looking for work means focusing more on recent experience and skills and planning for the future. How do you fit with and stay connected to the future? Because staying employable means looking forward to the future rather than always looking back on the past.
Companies are shifting. In the past, when we looked for work, we looked for a position. We had clear definitions of what those positions meant and how they fit into the company organization chart. We were very conscious of roles: frontline, supervisor, manager, director. Well, today in this economy, organizations and companies are leaner and flatter, so that position and role is becoming less relevant. And there are many more variations too, such as work sharing, contracting, team projects, working from home, etc. So it works better to think in terms of skills that can be marketed to an employer with specific needs. Now, Lowell Ann shares a story when she says, I told an interviewer I'm ready to do whatever needs doing for whomever needs it done. And she got the job.
We can learn a lot from sales and marketing fields, apply these concepts to our work search opportunities, looking for work. We need to think of ourselves as marketers and the product as ourselves. We are selling ourselves in a competitive market. We need to get comfortable with this idea, which is not always easy. Salespeople know that it's important not to take no personally, and that each no is a step towards the eventual yes. As work search marketers, what we need to be doing is planning, goal setting, reviewing, environmental scans, and lots of strategizing. Question for reflection: how would these concepts impact your work search, and what changes would you need to make?
Well, do you look and act the part? Often employers fear that boomers are out of date and won't fit in with their younger staff. So we need to communicate that we are fit. So how do we do that? Well, here's a few things for you to think about. We want to have an energetic body language. And of course, this guy is a little over the top, but I think you get the idea. And certainly our overall fitness and health and mood and attitude has an effect on our body language. Headhunters have been heard to say, anyone who is jaded and cynical and struggles to get out of the interview chair will not be hired. And we need to pay attention to our general appearance. So Paulo says, don't look old. So this means regular hairstyling, updating glasses and wardrobe, paying attention to our use of color, and all of these things must be up to date. And we must have a good elevator speech. Can you say in one or two confident sentences who you are, what you have to offer, and what you're interested in doing? An example might be, I'm looking for a company that could use a good bookkeeper who is skilled in using QuickBooks. Do you have any suggestions for me? Finally, it's really, really important that you appear to be really organized. And the way that you do that is that you have business cards, that you have a very professional-looking business folder that contains copies of your resume. You make use of a day timer or a smartphone. It's very important for you to have all the information you need at your fingertips.
Another way to communicate that you are with it is to pay close attention to your online presence. Have you ever Googled your name to see what comes up? Well, today, almost all employers will do so. So it's important that there are current and positive entries. Another way to use online is to network online for work. Using LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Google+. We need to be very public about what it is that we need and we're looking for, because there's no shame in it. It's about the economy, but it's also about community. And finally, you can also use a blog to create a portfolio showing examples of your work. We call those e-portfolios. Now also, where to look. Well, what you are looking for will determine your approach. So as boomers, we need to expand the types of approaches that we use in work search. We know the traditional ways, and we should still use them as well, but we need to do more. So you could determine which companies in your community could use your skills. Visit their websites, their LinkedIn sites for opportunities and for information. Register with placement agencies. Post your resume on appropriate sites such as the ones we've listed here, thirdquarter.ca or HR50Day. And you can also set up job alerts to be emailed to you. And finally, make sure that you attend career fairs and business events.
As boomers, we may have some concerns about our resume, being considered overqualified or having our age count against us. It is very important to address the specifics of the employer's posting and focus on this in your resume. There is no need to include all of your work history and experience, and there's never a need to be considered overqualified. Include a summary so the employer can scan for key details. Focus on recent experience of 10 to 15 years and summarize prior experience. Make sure you highlight the strengths of being a mature worker. Your cover letter is your marketing message and your chance to connect to the employer and position in a more personal way and encourage them to review your resume. Summarize how you meet each of the posting criteria. We will be covering the details of effective resumes and cover letters for boomers in our upcoming seminar called The Connection.
Work search is all about making connections and building relationships. This is a little bit different from the way things used to be, for sure. But we do know that nearly all vacancies, up to 90% actually, are never advertised and are filled through networking and word of mouth. This means that you need to make sure that lots of people know you, know what you're looking for, and how they can assist you. Get out into the community and stay connected. Attend as many social and business events as you can. Information interviews are another form of networking. And in this case, you meet with various people inside of companies that you think might be able to use your services. Recently, we heard from a workshop participant that she had attended a business mixer event, handed out her personal business cards to a few business owners, and one of those cards got passed on to another employer who then contacted her and hired her. This happens all the time.
How do 90% of people do their work search? Well, they do it through applying online to positions in which they don't know the employer and the employer doesn't know them. And yet, there's usually only about a 4% response rate to this type of application. That's a lot of work for a little response. As opportunity seekers, we need to thinking like the employer when it comes to our work search. We have to remember that the employer is often very busy, and so what's the easiest way? The first thing they'll do will be to look inside their own company. Is there someone that can be promoted from within? So a hint for you is to consider things like entry-level or volunteer positions, part-time or contract work, which would allow you then to be considered as an inside candidate. Next, they will ask around. They'll look for referrals from trusted employees and colleagues. So remember our comments about networking and try some informational interviews, cold calling, and just dropping off your resumes. If they still can't find anyone, they will go to a placement agency to do the searching for them. So certainly consider registering with one or more placement agencies. And as a last resort, they will place an ad for a vacancy, knowing they'll get hundreds of applications that will take up a lot of their time and resources. A hint for you, though, is when there is a position posted, make sure you apply in person whenever possible, even for posted ads. For a question for you is, how do you currently spend the greatest percentage of your job search time? Will this information change how you do your job search in the future, and how?
What can the boomer job seeker do when the interviewer is younger? Well, our programming from previous time tells us to go into job interviews with an air of confidence. Well, maybe perhaps it would make sense to tone that down a bit now. In our Golden Keys course, The Engagement, we'll be covering all the aspects of acing an interview, and we'll give you lots of techniques for connecting with the younger interviewer and putting them at ease.
During our research, it's important not to forget about our own self-care. It is important to maintain our stamina and positive outlook, and we need to factor in our own self-care into our work search plan. This includes our emotional and physical well-being. How do you maintain a healthy self-image and motivation? Well, first acknowledge and take care of your emotions. This will be a time of a roller coaster of emotions, which is not uncommon. You need moral support from family and friends, so make sure you stay social and avoid isolation. Associate yourself with positive people, and certainly maintain the routines and social activities that help you stay grounded. Your fitness, your hobbies, your social groups, your spiritual activities. It might be important to ramp up your fitness and pay more attention to diet and good sleep at this time.
Well, we know that mental self-care is important as well. We know that continuing to work in some capacity can provide creative stimulation that brings us a great deal of joy and satisfaction. And so what is most important is our lifelong learning. Being constantly re-educated communicates our tolerance for change. Here's how lifelong learning relates to this stage of our game. You to be learning new skills and engaging in creativity. And this, we know that learning something entirely new creates new brain pathways. Items such as languages, musical instruments, dancing, something that's very, very different from what we've always done. So it's important that you exercise your right brain. Write a story. Take up quilting or carpentry. Being current with news, social trends, literature. We need to be paying attention to economic, political, and cultural and professional areas. We must stay in touch with what's going on in the world so that we can continue to contribute in the workplace. How many books, magazines, and newspapers do you read? And for what purpose? Entertainment or expansion? Is there a balance here? And of course, the same questions apply to our TV habits. And we need to pay attention to what we know and how we're keeping up with technology. We really need to know what the latest software and social networking tools are. Are you aware of cloud computing, for example? Did you know that 85% of websites are now accessed from smartphones and iPads? We need to be constantly updating our knowledge and our skills.
I mentioned earlier in this presentation we're offering 3 webinar workshops to assist you in your search for work: the quest, the connection, and the engagement. And though we are doing this video clip as a presentation, when we are doing the webinar series, there is an opportunity for you to interact with us and with each other. And if you'd like to see how this works, go to the tour of the webinar room that you'll find on the Retirement Employment page. Now, the benefit of this interactive audio-visual conferencing is that in addition to increasing your confidence by learning the latest interview techniques, adding more tools and resources in your toolkit, such as templates to get you started, and expanding your work search skills and knowledge, you will enjoy the benefit derived from working in groups, and you'll experience our support during this process. Now, the price for the program is $35 per workshop. So here's how to find more information and to register. The link on this slide will take you to retirementemployment.ca. There you'll find a registration page that contains detailed outlines of workshops and dates. You'll also find a PayPal button. Once you've paid, you'll be taken to the webinar registration screen, and you will need to provide your full name and the email address that you use regularly, because you will then receive an email with access code to the workshop.
Well, folks, we are now at the end of this session, and we want to thank you for participating. We hope that we got you thinking and that you picked up some ideas that you can put into action right away. If you found this presentation helpful, please do share it with your network. This is Lowell Ann signing off, and I hope we'll meet again soon in the webinar room.
This is Dawn saying so long. And remember, we understand that work search can be tough, and we're here to help.
And this is Marilyn with a final reminder to check us out on our website, retirementemployment.ca, for information about our upcoming workshops. Thanks, folks.